Zimbabwe's cricket shirts have a luminescent number on the back, this bright red that glows. It even seems to glow in the middle of the England gloom. It's not as gloomy now, but earlier when we were playing, it was incredibly so. And yet you could see the Zimbabwean numbers as clearly as you could see almost anything at the ground. This incredible red color, and they were beautiful to look at. I also thought that the shirts were generally well tailored. The numbering was nice. I had no issue with the wording on the back or the way that the letters were. And I'm pretty sure that the shirts hung quite well when they were untucked as well. So that's good. I think now we are finished with pretty much all the positives from today's play when it comes to the Zimbabwean cricket team. At one stage, their seamer, didnt was bowling to Olipo, and he delivered a 72 miles per hour half volley almost a metre down the leg side. And it was flicked away over the square leg area for 6. And I thought long and hard about what the strategy might be for such a thing. Why would a medium pacer need to bowl the ball all the way down the leg side, especially when it was already swinging in, to a field that had 3 men on the leg side to begin with? And I'll be honest, I'm not sure I could ever even work this out. I mean, it was probably going to be a wide if it wasn't hit. And eventually, after I thought about Zimbabwe's strategy, my brain exploded. Sadly, the same thing happened to Zimbabwe pretty much all day.
As a cricket journalist, I would travel sometimes up to 200 days a year. I loved watching cricket games. I loved going to new countries. It was an absolute dream. But there was one thing I hated more than anything else about it, and it was this little pin. The thing that I need to change my SIM card in every new country. The absolute worst thing about this pin and SIM cards is when I was traveling to the West Indies, of having to arrive in every new island or country and having to work out if I could still find this pin and then line up and get my SIM card in every single airport. Well, now we have the answer thanks to Sally. They can make it so you never have to worry about this nonsense ever again. They use an eSIM app that once you install once, it is easy, simple, and cheap. Oh, and it works in more than 160 countries. And you can throw these pins away forever, because now you just need to download the Sally app before your trip. And if you do it with our code, Good Areas, you get an exclusive 15% discount on Sally eSIM data plans. So before your next holiday or work trip or any time you have to travel to another country, download the Sally app and use the code Good Areas, or one word, at checkout, and you can travel like a pro with Sally.
I saw Richard Ngarava in the hallway just after he was injured, and he looked completely broken. I was like, we're not going to see him back on the field in this test. He was moving with all the elan of a 75-year-old man who had broken his hip. He managed to injure himself by simply picking up and throwing in a ball. It was his hamstring, or knee, hip, or most likely, of course, his back. He had to be taken from the ground on a motorized device. And yet, he still came back, which I suppose is good news. However, when he came back, he was still moving like he had that broken hip. He could not have moved any slower or in any more pain. So I suppose it is a good thing that he came back, but it also looked like a bad thing because he felt as if moving was, well, impossible to him. And he was quickly, in relative terms, taken back from the field. And straight after his injury, which was just after lunch, their wicketkeeper, Sikandar, was hit on the finger. In fact, he was hit on the fingers, the wrist, half the day his gloves were down. And at one stage, he dived to second slip just to stop a ball. The following one darted back in off the seam the other way. He was athletically moving towards ball that a normal-sized wicketkeeper wouldn't have even reached. But even so, he still couldn't get it. But I think didnt tells the greatest story of the day. He is a new ball bowler at the test and first class level. The ball was swinging and seaming, and yet not only did Zimbabwe not give him the new ball, they also skipped him at first change. Then they decided to bowl both of their opening bowlers again for second spells. In some ways, he was really the 5th choice option coming on for the 22nd over. So he was set up to fail. But to be fair, he still did it spectacularly nonetheless. It hasn't been since the 1950s that anyone has bowled this many half volleys outside leg stump. And that was done because you had more than 2 fielders behind square on the leg side. Nachi was bowling as if he had 4 leg slips in place at certain times. It was some of the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and it was done slow. Perhaps the best thing he did on the field was take his jumper off and accidentally his shirt. So he almost bowled his first delivery in England wearing his tight skins. It's the sort of day where that's the thing that ends up in my piece. The bowler who came on at first change before him was Tanaka Chavanga, a strong seamer who bowls at decent pace and can swing the ball around. But he started his spell by giving up 3 boundaries, all of which on the leg side to Ben Duckett. I would argue that each one was mildly worse than the one before. And in the middle of that, he did manage to deliver an incredible swinging Yorker before going back to, I don't know, what's the official term? Utter filth. Later, he would start a spell with the widest, shortest piece of filth, and then followed up with the ball down the leg side. It honestly looked at certain times like there was no plan. The one thing that Zimbabwe is good at is the new ball, and they completely wasted it with their 2 best bowlers. Blessing Muzarabani has an average of 11 in the first 6 overs of test matches. You give him a new ball, no matter what it is, and he looks incredible. But despite the odd magic delivery, he couldn't find a line or length. Engarava found one, and it was often too short or too wide. There was actually something in the pitch, but so many times England just had to wait for a rubbish ball. And they never really had their patience tested because they were coming so often. And in Zimbabwe's defense, England openers are a unique pairing of tall, short, left, right. But Zimbabwe made them look like they were basically impossible to bowl at. And that just isn't correct. Zach Crawley was trying to find his form for much of the day, although Ben Duckett did look incredible. They also fielded poorly. Sikandar Raza took one of the best takes in the blast last year, and today he walked past the ball. They dived over other ones and around some of them in the infield regularly. Now, to be fair, I have very high standards for Zimbabwe because traditionally they've been a very good fielding team. They moved well at times, they just missed the ball. But it wasn't just how they fielded, it was where they did. Craig Irvine seemed to be chasing the ball as captain, which when your quicks can't decide on where they want to land it, is not really ideal. Every couple of balls, the player would move into a new position. And I'll be honest, the main reason for that seemed to be that they were going to be slightly closer to the rope to pick up the ball for the next boundary. And the highlight of their time in the field was really Sikandar Raza's bowling. But when he put his hand up to come and play this test, then saw the ball swinging and seaming early on, he was not thinking he was going to bowl 24 overs of his largely limited overs, knuckleballs, wrong-uns, or whatever it is he was doing. He was actually his side's only good option, and he is in no way a first-choice bowler. And even he lost it at one stage, bowling a near underarm ball just because, I mean, what else were they going to do? So what was Zimbabwe's greatest achievement today? It has to be keeping England to only 498 runs. On a day when so many were gifted, the last 2 were absolutely, truly the hardest. It's still crap, but it's 2 runs less than 500, and on a day like today, I think Zimbabwe have to take that as a win. A dark and gloomy win on a truly, truly horrible day for Zimbabwe cricket.
Brian Lara used pot plants to work on his placement. John Wright glued his glove to his bat. Sachin Tendulkar dug up practice pitches. Tatenda Taibu cut the top off his bat. Claire Taylor used a hockey grip. Steve Smith was from tennis. Dean Jones would call phantom runs. And Victor Trumper turned the nets into a war zone to survive. The best batters in the world do whatever they have to make runs. We have told their stories in our new book, The Art of Batting.